Hello nitwits and welcome to another video. Well, actually this isn't really so much another video as it is housekeeping because, well, I did something stupid. Since I started making YouTube videos, I've come to learn that there are a lot of things that I'm not particularly good at. You know, keeping up a steady schedule, properly recording audio, acting human. But of all of my shortcomings, I think my shortest coming of all might be my merchandising skills because, well, they're not great. I've made many attempts at creating t-shirts in hopes that fans of the show will buy them, and as it turns out, not a lot of you guys will. Like, don't get me wrong, it's insane to me that I've managed to sell anything, and I'm eternally grateful to the few of you who have bought my stuff, but from what I've heard from people who are more successful at this than I am, I'm gonna need to learn how to step up my merch game if I'm ever gonna wanna have any amount of longevity in this space. With that in mind, I'm always doing my best to try and think of new t-shirt ideas, and unfortunately I was doing just that while I had a little bit too much wine recently, and as a result, I ended up with this. As hopefully you can see, it is a picture of a confident older woman over which I have written, "I am pro-Joyce." Now, looking at this shirt, a lot of you may be thinking that it has absolutely nothing to do with a YouTube show about a depressive eunuch who talks about trashy media while he knits, and you'd be absolutely right about that. It has absolutely nothing to do with my show, and I don't even think that it technically qualifies as merch, so I feel like I should probably explain to you guys how this thing came into being. Although before that, I should probably put the shirt on because if I'm going to want to sell it, I should probably model it. Alright, so it all started somewhere between like 1 and 40 months ago. I don't really remember when exactly, I have no sense of time anymore. But my friend was going home to visit her parents, and she offhandedly messaged our group chat to tell us about a funny mistake she had almost made while packing. You see, her mother is very Catholic and very anti-abortion, and my friend is neither of those things, so she almost packed one of her pro-choice t-shirts, and that would have been bad because it probably would have led to a very heated argument between her and her mother, which in the case of a very Catholic mom means a disappointed look and a lot of painful silences. My friend told us about the mistake she almost made, like a haha, you'll never guess what I just did sort of thing, and as is often the case with group chats, we all ended up riffing in a way that anyone who's not in the group chat would find deeply cloying. And this is where the t-shirt comes in, because my contribution to the conversation was suggesting that rather than wearing a shirt that said she's pro-choice, she should wear a shirt that said she was pro-Joyce in order to show her support for a woman named Joyce, because, well, I didn't know who Joyce was because I had made her up, but I figured she'd probably be way less controversial than abortion. Which, yeah, in case it wasn't clear, the point of the t-shirt is that this lady right here is named Joyce, and I'm telling the world that I think she's great. Although, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I guess it also kind of looks like this lady is saying that she's pro-Joyce, like maybe Joyce is her friend and she supports her. Or I guess it could be both, like maybe the woman is Joyce, but she also just has really good self-esteem, so she's telling the world how much she loves herself in the form of a t-shirt. I don't know. It's open to interpretation, and that's how you can tell that it's good art. In any case, I made my little joke and my friends actually seemed to enjoy it, which was weird because normally the jokes I make in my group chats are met with unbridled contempt. And if they found it funny, then I figured maybe other people might find it funny too, because most people hate me way less than my friends do, and so in my constant quest for good merch ideas, I started to think that maybe I was onto something. Of course, then I actually thought about it, and I remembered that my show is about knitting or some shit and that the shirt made absolutely no sense. So I stored the idea away in the back of my head, and that was that. Until some time passed, and those same friends from my group chat and I all went to a bar together. And again, I don't really know what the timeline is here, but just know that it's been long enough at this point that I definitely should have forgotten about this very stupid offhanded joke that I made in a group chat. Unfortunately, I did not. Our waiter at the bar was wearing this very confusing t-shirt, which was either anti-police brutality or very in favor of it. And because we couldn't tell, we all kind of started to argue a little bit about what it was trying to say. You know, is it good? Is it bad? Should we not be supporting this guy? I'm obviously a coward, so I'm going to tip either way. But if I tip in this scenario, does that make me a bad person? Stuff like that. Eventually, it became enough of an issue that we decided to track the shirt down online and try to figure out its intended purpose. And in doing so, we were able to confirm that thankfully it was not pro-police brutality. And we knew this because it had apparently come from the most annoyingly liberal t-shirt company to have ever existed. And don't get me wrong, I am generally pretty far to the left myself, but there is nothing that pisses me off more than a t-shirt that I agree with, if that makes sense. Anytime I see someone wearing a bad t-shirt with a left-leaning political message, it always makes me cringe a little. I always kind of want to go up to whoever's wearing stuff like that and be like, what are you doing? Put that away. Don't you know that the other side is going to see that? And yeah, this website was full of t-shirts like that, and so the conversation between my friends and I kind of shifted to reading the shirts out loud and goofing on them before ultimately pitching our own ideas for terrible t-shirts that we could sell because, well, I don't know what to tell you, we're not a fun group. Brainstorming terrible ideas for t-shirts jostled something loose in the back of my brain and made me remember, hey, I already have a terrible idea for a t-shirt. And because I was about 2 glasses of wine deep at this point, that terrible idea actually sounded pretty great. After all, I had just found an entire website of terrible t-shirts, and they were apparently doing well enough that I had just encountered one in the wild. Why should I let the fact that my t-shirt idea is stupid and has absolutely no connection to the show that I make stop me from getting in on that market? I vowed there and then that I was going to make my pro-choice t-shirts a reality. And so, as is often the case with me when I'm in social situations, I retreated onto my phone and started scrolling through the internet. I think I was kind of trying to strike while the iron was hot because at that moment in time I really wanted these shirts to be a thing, and well, I lose interest in stuff pretty quick. So I went to a stock photo website to start the design process. I typed confident older woman into the search bar and scrolled through what might just be my favorite collection of photos to ever exist on the internet. And it wasn't long before I encountered this beautiful goddess. And seeing this picture, I felt a genuine spark where I instantly knew that I had found my joys. I kind of felt like I was an old-timey director who had just spotted a young Marilyn Monroe drinking a milkshake at the mall. You there, young lady, do you want to be a star? I don't know what that voice was, but it definitely was an old-timey director. The picture was perfect and everything was set in place, but unfortunately there was only so much I could do on my phone, so I decided to finish the rest later when I got home and had access to my computer. I put my phone away and went back to doing what you're supposed to do at a bar, which is drinking with friends. And that's unfortunate because had I not had those last couple of drinks, I don't think I would have made the decision that I ended up making. Because here's the thing, I have had dumb ideas for shirts in the past, but because the service I use makes them to order, there's absolutely no downside to having those dumb ideas. I can upload t-shirts until my fingers are blue with absolutely no consequences. One time I got high and decided that I wanted a t-shirt with my name on it, and that shirt is currently available for purchase in my store. I have no regrets about that. Unfortunately, this situation was different because For some reason, my drunken self was very concerned with copyright laws. I had fallen in love with the stock photo I had chosen to be Joyce, and the thing about stock photos is that they cost money to use, and while the obvious solution to this problem would be to go to one of the many royalty-free image sites on the internet, I decided instead to license the photo I wanted for the low price of $80. Then, being the marketing genius that I am, I also decided that I'd need to order a sample of the t-shirt because, well, obviously no one's going to want to buy it unless they see me wearing it first. And so when all was said and done, I woke up the next morning $100 poorer with a little bit of a headache and a confirmation order from Teespring. And yeah, that's where this video comes in, because I have unfortunately committed myself to trying to sell this t-shirt, and that means I have to market it. So yeah, if you are in the market for the stupidest t-shirt ever made, you can find the link to it below. Currently it's only available as a t-shirt, but if anyone has another form of it they'd like to see it take, please leave it in the comments below, because it's easy to turn on. All I'd have to do is flip a little switch and you could be putting your baby in a pro-Joyce onesie by the end of the month. And then, just so I don't feel like I'm profiting off of making light of a very serious issue, I'll be donating half of the first month's profits to pro-choice charities. I'm not entirely sure which ones. It's like a website that splits your donations among a bunch of different places that my friend recommended. But if you support that cause, then hopefully that'll sweeten the deal for you, knowing that not only are you supporting the channel, but you're also supporting a woman's right to choose. And if you don't support that cause, then, I don't know, I guess wait a month and buy the shirt then. I may not agree with your politics, but I will take your money. And yeah, like I said, you can find the link to the shirt below, and thank you guys for your time. Like and subscribe, I guess. I don't know.